I've discussed spatial dynamics a little bit in terms of where we place things. And there's some cultural dimensions to consider with that as well. Because if you were to go to Japan, you would find that in the center of the room, they'll put their furniture. And in the US, what do? We put it all around us. When you think about that, when it comes to magical work, that can be really useful to look at the flow of energy and how it moves through the room. You might call this feng shui. I'm not going to call it that, but you could, if you want to. What I'm interested in with that, though, is how that placement affects movement, and how that movement in turn affects your ability to do your magical work. That's really what I care about as far as that process goes. So we always need to keep in mind those cultural aspects, because they do influence how we approach magical work. We can't escape culture. We live in it, we're immersed in it. The very fact that all of you are wearing clothes is an example of culture at work. Even if you were naked right now, we would probably see some kind of cultural artifact in the form of tattoos or piercings on some of you, if not all of you. And earrings. See, she's wearing a couple earrings right now. And all of those physical objects that we wear that also are also part of these cultural artifacts that affect our movement in turn, the rings, everything else, our awareness, all of it is useful to consider, because what it does is it occupies space, and it defines that space. When we're doing ritual, when you're doing magical work, you are trying to define your space, physically, emotionally, mentally, and metaphysically. The physical is the objects that you put. So, if I put these 3 books right here on this circle, that's the physical, here they are. The emotional is whatever meaning we associate with those books. I'm going to probably associate a lot more since I wrote them than you did, but that's not the point. I'm just using these as a rough example. But let's use a chair instead. What do we associate with a chair? Well, a chair is a physical object. It's a place to sit. But emotionally, what might you associate with a chair? Relaxation, rest, comfort, punishment.
Time out.
Time out.
That's the naughty chair.
Oh, yes, that's the naughty chair now. Don't make me put you there.
Where the esteemed guest is going to sit.
That's right. Or it could be, or the naughty chair too, if we want to take it into some interesting directions. Could also be the fun chair when it comes to some kind of BDSM ritual or something like that. For those of you who are inclined. Then you might want to sit in the naughty chair.
Make sure that the chair is structurally sound.
That's right. Mental space. I think of the chair, when we think of the chair then as a concept, we kind of go back to rest and comfort in part, because those are mental constructs as well. But a chair represents a specific idea of how space is going to be defined. In this case, it is a place where one can sit, and in that sitting, accomplish a specific activity. Not just sitting in and of itself. It could be a variety of things: reading, working on your computer, a whole bunch of different activities. What's interesting is that we'll come to associate given chairs with specific things. How many of you go into work and you hate your chair? You probably do. Yeah, see why? Because you associate it mentally with what you have to do. You had your hand up.
I was thinking of the chair as stability.
Stability, sure.
Which reminded me, isn't it, the photograph of Dali had a chair that was not stable, if I remember that photo correctly. Wasn't it his?
I'm not sure whose it was.
Yeah, but it showed, because the chair is the 4 legs, 3 or 4 legs you sit on, it's seen as a sign of stability, and so when you mess with that, you're changing the concept.
Sure. Changing, and if we think about that then, think about how we can apply that to magical work then, and look at, say, the chair of our soul. Chair of our life. Does our chair have 4 legs? Is it providing us the necessary space to sit comfortably and be stable? If it's not, what's missing from that chair? What do we need to bring to that chair? We can use that as a metaphor. Chair could be a footrest, as I just used it for. Obviously, that's a non-conventional use. There you go. And then we come to that metaphysical space, which you've already led us toward, and that's a good thing. And it is that the chair is stability, that it brings stability to space. But the chair can also mean inability to move, sloth, inaction. Is the chair holding us back? Is the chair keeping us in one place for too long?
It's a space changer.
It's a space changer.
Remove the chair into the space of the books. Confine the books.
Well, sure, I have confined the books. I've hidden them away. We can't see them anymore.